live from our Abuja studios. Emmanuel Okeje is joining us. He's a senior special assistant to special advisor to the Central Bank Governor, Godwin Emefiele. Mr. Okeje, good morning. It's good to have you on the program. Let's hit the ground running. Take us through what the key objectives of the Central Bank really is in rolling out this twin-prong program, the DCRR, and now the corporate bonds funding program.
Good morning and thank you, Bosin. Basically, just like in your introduction, where you highlighted what the governor said during the last MPC meeting, the whole idea of rolling out this is actually two-pronged, like you highly rightly noted. First was to make funds available to industries and also to those who are involved in agricultural production. And this emphasis is basically based on the fact that agriculture, we know, is the greatest employer of labor in the country for now. Industry, yes, we know also its contribution to the GDP. And that is why we took on these major sectors. And you also recall that there has been this clamor for low interest rate regime. And what the central bank has done is to actually find a mix where we do not lose focus of our monetary policy stance in terms of the tight monetary policy of government, of the central bank for now, keeping an eye on the price level. And the other way now is to actually look at this, how do we make funds available without reducing the monetary policy rate? And like the governor promised during the last MPC, we have come out with this program. And the whole idea is to ensure that industries who produce can have access to fund at single-digit rate and for a longer period so that they can continue to contribute to the growth of the economy. And basically, the objective is to stimulate production. Not only stimulating production, also encouraging employment, which is very, very critical. And that is why you notice that the sectors we have chosen are those sectors that have a great potential for employment generation, while also, on the other hand, contributing to the economic growth. And I will tell you one thing, which you must also know. Look at the tenor which we have chosen. The bond, the corporate bond, is such that for any corporate that issues those bonds, 7 years, which we said is the minimum, allows you to be able to plan. And you also have an additional moratorium period of 2 years, which gives you a total period of 2 years free of capital repayment. And to a large extent, as an industry, it is a cheap source of you getting funds to do expansion of your project if you have an existing project. And if you also want to go into a new, which is what you call the greenfield project, this is a veritable source of funding for you. And like you will agree with me, Bossy, you also know that corporate bonds have its advantages. Basically, they are not easily subjected to the impacts of inflation and, of course, the increase in interest rate because of the nature of the bond and the tenor. So coming to the to the agricultural sector, the fund we are making available, which is the contributed CRR by the banks, which hitherto have been lying with the central bank and not being utilized. And the bank has decided to give out back to the banks that are willing to utilize this fund to fund the real sector. And we are emphasizing the real sector because of the potential. And I also want to tell you that not only because of the potential in terms of production, we are going to focus on projects that also have the capacity to generate products that could be exported in the spirit of part of the diversification of the economy as envisaged by the federal government. And also, in an attempt to also do that, you see that we are also doing one other thing, and that is indirectly import substitution. Because when you are saving foreign exchange, you are also gradual, which means that you are producing some of those goods which hitherto you would have imported, so that to that extent, we will be saving foreign exchange, which could be used for some capital importation. So in a nutshell, Boasin, our objective is basically that we want to stimulate agricultural production, industrial production, and by doing so, we will contribute to the economic growth. And not only that, to a large extent, with industrial and manufacturing growth increasing, of course, the knock-on effect on the PMI is high. And in so doing also, we can see that you are indirectly providing funds for funding the ERGP of government, which is supposed to also contribute to economic development.
Mr. Okeje, part of it is what do you think the key information here that the corporate, those who will issue the commercial papers and the corporate bonds should need to know? What do you think investors need to know, and the entire fireworks built around this? Because part of the guidelines is that no refinancing of existing loans. If you are a bank and you're not contributing to the CRR within the central bank vaults, you are not going to be eligible under this program. And this is not for trading in currencies or whatever.
Yeah, basically, it is quite clear. This fund is made available to finance, for now, emphasis to a large extent, we will concentrate on new projects. But like we said also, brown projects, and those are the ones that will lead to expansion, not refinancing, not trading in any form, because we are very much concerned about increasing productivity and increasing output so that we can see an increase in our GDP, contribution to employment, and so there is no trading with this fund, and also there is no refinancing of projects. Existing projects can only benefit by virtue of the fact that there is an expansion. And I also want to make it clear that there is no project because we have what we call the pre-financing evaluation. So before any bank gives out a loan, it has to present to the central bank the project it intends to finance. And after the review of that project, and in terms of all what we have stated that is going to be the important milestone to be generated by those projects, and we are satisfied, then the banks can now present that project again for final approval by the central bank. And I want to say on the part of the central bank, on the part of the banks, they need to be sure of what they are presenting. And once the central bank has provided and approved those loans, they need to disburse them within 5 days. 5 working days, the loans must be disbursed to the beneficiary in accordance with the schedule of disbursement, which has been presented to the banks and approved by the central bank. And we have also stated this, that, look, any charges above the all-in 9%, the borrower has the right to report same to the central bank through the Director Banking Supervision. So the bank has the obligation to ensure that the projects presented to the central bank are in line with the guidelines provided by the CBN, which is to say, they must be new projects, they must be expansion projects, and not refinancing. On the part of central bank, we are also going to encourage this because, and I want to emphasize here, even though we are going to participate in the debt, in the corporate bond issuance, central bank is not the first call. Central bank will do that, but we are going to come in just like a buyer of last resort too. And central bank is doing this to encourage people, because we all know what corporate bond is. Definitely there are going to be prospectus issued. And we have also said these are AAA companies, which we all know are profitable, so that they will now blaze the trail in terms of fund raising in the market. And I think that this is going to be a very, very wonderful and attractive and successful program.
Mr. Manuel Okeje, thank you very much for coming through on our program this morning, clearing some of this for us. Special advisor to the Central Bank Governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, live from our Abuja studios.